This update will first increase XP gain for all dungeons on difficulties. Further reward optimization is also in the works. It's like we're getting a couple things that we actually won in the game. If you look here in game, if you are a necromancer like me and you are using summons, etc., you're probably annoyed by the fact that the blood-soaked jade has not worked with damage. Increases all damage you deal by up to 13.5%, movement speed, etc. However, this blood-soaked jade has not triggered bonus damage on the summons. But what I actually have here to show you is pretty encouraging. Check this out. So if we go here, look at this. We will be pushing through a hot fix for the blood-soaked legendary gem without our upcoming content update. Once the maintenance period holds for all regions, 3 a.m., this hotfix will go live. So, maintenance period's over, hotfix is going in, now the blood-soaked jade works on summons. So that is actually a pretty massive buff if we're being honest to necromancers. But here's where the more interesting bit gets in there. So if you actually look, there is two versions of patch notes. There is both the Chinese as well as the English. Now if we translate this to Chinese and we scroll through it, you're going to notice they have some additional pieces of information within the Chinese description of the content update. One of the things you're going to notice if you scroll all the way down and we go, where is it here? It's under the dungeons. So they start talking about some dungeons, some PvP experiences optimized dungeon. Here you go. Dungeon experience optimized from the developer. They have an additional developer note that's not in the English version. Based on the feedback from adventurers, we realized that the current rewards of dungeons gameplay do not match the participation threshold and difficulty. In order to give you a better dungeon gameplay experience, we'll gradually optimize the dungeon rewards. This update will first increase XP gain for all dungeons on difficulties. Further reward optimization is also in the works. I wish you a happy time in Sanctuary. So, ladies and gentlemen, dungeons are not just getting an XP buff, we're going to be getting other reward optimizations as well. It looks like they actually are looking into it and adjusting those drop rates due to the feedback. Now, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, is this feedback has been overwhelming, and originally it did not sound like something was going to happen. However, with the amount of overwhelming sheer feedback, not just from us YouTubers, but you, the viewers, you guys are leaving comments on things like this videos. You're liking the videos where we're talking about this. I've seen them even on Reddit getting posted, etc. People heavily agree with the point that their green items are not a good part of the game for farming, and it looks like they're actually listening to that. Why this is only in the Chinese notes, not in the English, I don't know. It could be a breakdown of communication. Keep in mind that the game is developed by NetEase, not Blizzard, from my understanding. Well, it's in tandem, but NetEase is the one that originally owns and runs the game. Interesting tidbit of information, by the way. One thing the data miner found on the actual game is it was based upon the Messiah game engine and a game skin from 2016. Just a little tidbit there. So the game is actually based upon a Chinese game from 2016 that has the game engine that was released called Messiah right around the time that Diablo Immortal was announced as well. So what they did was they took the skin of a previous game, reworked it to it in Diablo. This isn't really like big drama news. This is stuff that happens in gaming all the time. They'll often have an engine that comes out. They'll have a skeleton of a game to kind of demonstrate the engine. People will re-optimize that, etc. And that's sort of what happened with this game. But because of that, the game is over mostly in China, from my understanding. That's where the development is. So by the time we send the feedback and Blizzard gets the feedback and sends it back to them and they develop it, then send it back to Blizzard, and then Blizzard okays that information, sends it back to us, there's a delay. So all this basically to say and explain the process, because I want you to fully understand that our feedback looks like it's actually getting somewhere. It's just taking a really long time to have it implemented because it's got to kind of leapfrog from one person to another to actually get there. But it looks like, at least from the Chinese translation, which in my opinion has been more accurate than the English ones. There's multiple times they've had to update the English one to match the Chinese one, where the Chinese information had information first and more accurate, etc., or more detailed like we're having here. This one says further reward optimizations are also in the works. So as of today, and as of right now, thumb up for the Blood-Soaked Jade. I have personally asked about things like the Seeping Bile not proccing off the summons and some of the other legendary gems. They are in discussions currently to deal with the legendary gems. We will see what happens once we get the response for that, but I would expect a response for that sooner rather than later, and I'm actually kind of thumbed up on hopefully getting green set item drops fixed, or please, intelligence to strength. Once again, that's another essence transfer would be another way to do it. But, you know, one can hope. I think we might get the drop rate buffs. That's about it. With that being said, thumb up on this update. See you guys on the next one.